Mannerisms to fit your characters. I'm Karen Beery with Right Now Editing, where we turn good manuscripts into great books.
And I'm Peg Thomas, award-winning author and editor, and we are two editors for 5 minutes.
5 minutes starting now.
All
And we
right.
are actually going to talk about mannerisms. Peg,
Yes.
character mannerisms.
Character mannerisms are how your characters physically move. That's a big thing. And what we typically see when Karen and I get first manuscripts from authors to edit is we see a lot of nodding, just a lot of nodding. They're downright bobbleheads for a while, and then they're blinking a lot, and of course smiling. We got lots of smiling. Now you'll try to slip past a grin instead of a smile, or maybe a smirk, but it's still pretty much lips, eyes, and the head bobbing. So what we want to talk about today is the fact that your character has an entire body. And people use their entire bodies when they talk. If you could see my hands, you would see I'm using my hands when I talk. I'm not Italian, but I still do that.
The
Other
entire
people,
time, the entire time we talk, when we record these, I can't help it. I sit here, I play with my ring. That is a perfect mannerism quirk to have a character do, because you guys can't see my hands. So I'm just down here twirling that ring like I'm trying to screw my finger back on.
some people tap their foot. Some people, they rub the back of their neck when they're not sure. Some people cross their arms a lot when they're being skeptical or when they're afraid, right? So think about your character as in terms of their whole body. Your character is more than their lips, their eyes, and their head bobbing. So think about how they move. Watch people when you go out into the grocery store or you go out to the park or whatever. Watch people and analyze how they're moving. Analyze the mother with the toddler and how she's moved. You got a mother with a toddler in your book, watch mothers with toddlers. What do they tend to do? How do they tend to move? Because each character is going to do things differently. You don't want your characters to all move the same. You don't want every guy in your book to do this number and rub his chin. And it's okay if one does that because that's his mannerism. But you don't want them all doing that. You got a bearded character and he's always pulling on his beard. That's fine, but you have one character who does that. You don't have all of them doing that. You have one woman who's always playing with her hair. That's okay, but one does it. They don't all do it. Find a way to make your characters move individually.
It's okay if characters do similar things, but because they're unique individuals, they should think of it differently. There was one manuscript I edited, and every single person, it was kind of an Old West story. So anytime they sat, whether it was on benches or on the floor, I mean, they're always kind of a little dirty and there's always sawdust and splinters. Every person got up and brushed off their bum. It didn't matter if it was the pastor, if it was the child, if it was a female or a male, they all stood up and brushed off their bum. But not everybody's going to think of it that way. Some of the ladies might stand up and shake out their skirts because they're wearing skirts. The cowboy might stand up and smack his hat against the back of his drawers. There's always going to be a different perspective. So even if you have characters that are doing a very similar or exactly the same mannerism, maybe that's part of the storyline, they're going to think about it differently. And there's always going to be that tiny little personality quirk, the personality perspective that's going to make it a little bit unique. So keep that in mind too. And that goes right back, into their upbringing, their gender, their education. Is everybody going to use the word bum, or if you're going to have somebody who's crass who's going to use maybe a less appropriate word for that?
And it's also going to be regional. Even if you're writing I write totally American stories, but someone from the deep South is going to think different from somebody from the Pacific Northwest. Somebody from the Midwest is going to think very different from somebody from Maine. It's okay to incorporate that, and especially when you get into like how they dress, okay? Because you get the regional differences. Somebody from Texas comes into the story and does not wear cowboy boots, I'm probably going to be shocked, all right? Because that's kind of what we think about when we think of that. And so take all of that in consideration when you're building your characters. Think of their background. Okay, maybe he lives in Ohio now, but maybe he grew up in Arizona. So that's going to make him a little different from the kid next door who grew up in Ohio. And that's okay to bring in those little bit of changes due to just geography. And we're out of
And that's
time
all.
again
We
already.
got
I
two
thought we
days
just
for it.
started.
I know. That's it for
All right,
today.
we gotta
But
go.
until next time, I'm Karen Beery.
And I'm Peg Thomas. Bye.